Imagine a world where everything vanished the moment it was spoken. No history, no future, only fleeting words carried by the wind. Then, one day, something changed. A symbol was scratched into clay, a thought captured in time. And from that moment on, silence began to speak. This is not just the story of how we learned to write. It's the story of how we conquered time. Let's rewind the reel of human history and trace the footsteps of the first scribes, decode the ancient symbols, and discover the strange, powerful origins of the written word. For tens of thousands of years, humans relied on memory, oral storytelling, and cave paintings. We sang our lineages, recited laws, and carved dreams into stone. The Lascaux cave paintings in France, dating back 17,000 years, may look like primitive art, but they weren't. They were mnemonic devices, a proto-language, but they had one fatal flaw: interpretation. Without the storyteller, meaning was lost. Here's the first twist. Writing wasn't invented to tell stories. It was invented to solve a problem, a very specific, bureaucratic, boring problem. By 3500 BCE in Mesopotamia, cities were booming, agriculture had exploded, trade was thriving, and people needed to keep track of it all. Grain shipments, goat herds, tax payments. Enter the accountants. Clay tablets, styluses made of reed, and a system of pictographs known as proto-cuneiform were born. The earliest writers weren't poets or philosophers, they were bookkeepers. But as these marks evolved, so did their magic. Around 3200 BCE in Sumer, modern-day Iraq, writing became standardized into cuneiform, meaning wedge-shaped. Why wedges? Because scribes pressed a stylus into soft clay. Over time, those marks became complex symbols, entire languages carved into earth. Here's the loop. From numbers came names, from ledgers came legends. The first known author in history, a woman named Enheduanna, a Sumerian priestess who wrote hymns to the goddess Inanna over 4,000 years ago. Her words still exist today. Writing quickly evolved beyond economy. It became a weapon of statecraft. Kings used it to decree laws. Priests used it to interpret omens. The Epic of Gilgamesh, arguably the first great literary work, emerged from these wedge-shaped imprints. Cuneiform spread across the ancient Near East, from Akkadians to Babylonians to Assyrians. But it wasn't alone. Around the same time, another writing system bloomed along the Nile. Egyptian hieroglyphs, sacred carvings, combined symbols for objects, sounds, and ideas. It was a code, but also an art form. Temple walls, tombs, and scrolls bloomed with imagery that spoke volumes. At first, only priests and scribes understood these scripts. They were gatekeepers of divine knowledge. Papyrus became the ancient world's paper. The Book of the Dead, a guide for the afterlife, was one of humanity's earliest spiritual texts. But here's the twist. While cuneiform focused on administration, hieroglyphs leaned into immortality. Pharaohs sought to etch their names into eternity. Writing became a path to the gods. Looping back, both cuneiform and hieroglyphs started with elites. But soon, writing would spread and change everything. Fast forward to the Phoenicians, around 1050 BCE. Traders of the Mediterranean, they needed something fast, flexible, and easy to learn. They stripped writing down to its essence, 22 letters, each representing a sound. No vowels, no hieroglyphs, just symbols for speech. This was radical, a system that anyone, not just priests, could learn. From this alphabet came Greek, then Latin, then the letters you're reading right now. And with this simplification came a surge in communication. Philosophy, politics, science, religion, all born from the alphabet's clarity. Socrates may have hated writing, but Plato immortalized him through it. Here's the loop. Each simplification of writing made it more powerful, more widespread, and more dangerous. Because now, ideas could travel. The Roman Empire thrived on scrolls, decrees, and law codes. Monks in medieval Europe copied manuscripts by candlelight, preserving the knowledge of ancient Greece and Rome. In China, a parallel revolution had occurred. Oracle bones, used for divination around 1200 BCE, marked the start of Chinese script. But it didn't stop there. Inventions like paper in the 2nd century BCE and woodblock printing during the Tang dynasty turned writing into mass media. Knowledge became power. Empires rose and fell on the strength of written orders, treaties, and propaganda. And yet, writing wasn't just for power, it was for memory, for rebellion, for identity. Anne Frank's diary, the Magna Carta, the Quran, the Constitution, a love letter, a tweet. All these are echoes of the first mark on a Sumerian tablet. Here's the most mind-blowing part. Writing is time travel. When you read the words of an ancient scribe, you are hearing a voice from thousands of years ago. You are touching the mind of someone who has been dead for millennia. No technology has ever come closer to resurrection. Writing allows humanity to build upon itself, to remember, to reflect, to dream forward. It's what let us leave prehistory and enter history. It's what turned stories into civilizations. And yet, we almost take it for granted. From lost Mayan glyphs to Etruscan inscriptions still undeciphered, much of human history remains locked in scripts we haven't cracked. Each symbol is a puzzle. Each inscription, a whisper from the past. Why did the Indus Valley script disappear? Why did the Romans destroy the Library of Alexandria? Could AI decode the languages we've lost? These aren't just academic questions. They're keys to understanding who we were and what we might become. Writing was not just an invention. It was a revolution of thought, identity, and memory. It gave us contracts and poems, prayers and blueprints, declarations and dreams. And here's the final twist. 99% of you who are watching this still aren't subscribed. If you want to keep exploring the forgotten chapters and ancient technologies that shaped our world, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join us next time. Because the story of writing is still being written.